Hey guys, it's Rule74 here, and I have a T57 game here that I played on the map Swamps. And Swamp, it's a pretty decent map. It's kind of a standard setup. It's not nearly as bad as the map used to be. It's a lot more balanced now. But here at the start of the game, I have it paused right now, but at the start of this game, I took a look at the team lineups, and from the northern spawn, it's a lot harder to take the J2, K2 area. But looking at their lineup, they have the only tanks that I'm really worried about getting there before me, that are heavies at least, is going to be the IS-7, the M103, and possibly the IS-3 if he decides to go there. And of course the mouse and the T-34 also are kind of a concern. So I make the choice right now at the start of the game that I'm going to go contest the J2, K2 area because it's my favorite place to play on this map. At least in heavies, that is. If I had a medium, it would be a different story. Or if I had a faster heavy, I would go up the A line, but since I don't. The T57, it's one of my favorite tier 10 heavy tanks at the moment. I tend to average lately around 4,000 damage a game, which is pretty good in it. As you can see, I'm only, according to win 8, I'm only a green player. But my recent win 8 is close to 3,300, and my last several hundred games have been close to 3,800, which makes me a super unicum. So I tend to have kind of an idea of what I'm doing. So as you can see, I have kind of a decent amount of heavies that are coming with me. I got my M103, 2 Chrysler GFs, E75. So it's a pretty good lineup heading this way, I think, so far. But as you can see, the M103 and one of the Chrysler GFs have decided that they're going to take their own little course, which isn't bad. They're going to an alright area, but it's kind of an exposed area because when you get people sitting in the back of the K3 area, they get shots down there as well. So you can see that there's already an SCRV and an IS-7 spotted. Of course, I thought the IS-7 was going to come here to start with. I'm going to have this heli turn my turret to the left, as you can see right now, because people tend to sit in the H5 area and they get pot shots off on the sides of tanks going up into the J2 KTO area. So I turn my turret to bounce any shots that I possibly can with the 57 Heavy's turret. That way they don't just have the side of my turret and my hull. So it makes it a little harder on them. And you'll see why in a moment. Because the mouse gets spotted right there and he takes a shot at the Chrysler GF right now. Thankfully he misses the Chrysler GF. And I was kind of thinking about taking shots at the mouse, but decided not to because I see that the IS-7 is coming up this flank pretty aggressively. So I'm going to set up for him and wait right now for him to come around the corner and push into me, where I have support from the Chrysler also. So I put 1, 2, 3 shots into him. And then unfortunately the fourth one, because of RNG, decides it's going to bounce. So I'm clipping, and at this moment I let my team know that I'm also reloading, which is something that's pretty important to do. Even though it's just a hubby match, sometimes they'll help you, sometimes they won't. And the M103, who also thought was going to come up this way, has also. So the Chrysler tracks to the IS-7, which is kind of good. I make the poor decision of shooting at his lower plate there as it's angled, but I put the next 3 into him, finishing him off, doing the full 2150 damage to that IS-7. And now I'm just kind of staying already safe while I reload, hoping that my Chrysler GF is going to support me in kind of warding off that M103. Now I take a quick peek to see where the T-34 is right there, make sure he's no kind of threat at the moment, and I come back to put pressure on this M103. And I see that there's an STRV right there, so I put a cheeky little shot into his lower plate right there. And then M103, he backs up here, kind of a mistake on his part, so I track him, and I put 2 into his engine deck right here, which has practically no armor. But at the same time, I over-angle myself, and he's able to track me, doing full damage as well. So I see that the T-34 comes, he puts 1 shot into me. I made a mistake there of going forwards, but I should have backed up. And I kind of paid the price for it a little bit. M103 comes back out. Excuse me. Then for some reason the T-34 switched to high explosive rounds. So I come out, I put 2 shots into him, training pretty effectively, and I see the M103 here is coming around the corner as well. So I put 2 shots into him, finishing him off. And as you can see, it's a pretty close game right now. It looks like we're losing this flank down here as the T-95s are pushing, as well as the Mouse and T-34. So it looks like we're kind of in some trouble. So I back off from this T-95 knowing that I can't trade effectively with him because he's going to take off half my HP, which I don't want to have happen. So I see that this T-34 is isolated. So I come out here after him to finish him off since there's no support for him. And I go to clip right now. So that way I have 4 shots to go into either the T-95 or the STRB. And the T-95, I kite him back around this building so he follows me. And so that leaves his STRB isolated. And I come around the corner and he puts 1 into me. But I press forward because he pulled back down that ridge so he doesn't have any more shots on me. And I see that the T-95 there has decided that he was going to follow me all the way around that building. Thankful. And so I decided that I have to go kill this STRB before the T-95 can help him. So I finished him off, and right here, when I came around this corner, I didn't go straight between the building and the rock to go finish off the STRB, because if I had done that, the T-95 would have been able to have side shots on me. And so I went wide around this building over here, so that way not only the T-95 can't shoot me, but I'm also artillery safe as well. And now you can kind of see that our team has kind of pulled a little bit more of an advantage in this game, but you can see that we're still heavily outnumbered on this flank. And I'm against a full health T-95, and if you look on the mini map, there's a T-95, a T-44 100, and Mouse that are playing pretty aggressively against the T-54 Mod 1. So, continue on in the replay. You can see that I'm up to 4 kills now. All the guys that they had sent to this flank, I've killed every single one of them. And credit to Chrysler that came with me. He definitely helped out too, because if it wasn't for him, I would have been pushed right off the back and we would have lost this flank. So you can see here that the T-95 would come up this way. He played kind of aggressively. And I saw earlier that the artillery was looking at him. So I waited for the artillery to stun him, which is going to affect his traverse rate. And I popped right around the corner and I put a couple shots into his track. And I pulled back because he was looking straight at me. So I reload the heat clip here, knowing that I need all 4 rounds, because if I had only loaded the AP rounds, I would have only had 3. So I continue just kiting the T-95 around the building, letting my artillery do some work on him. As you can see from the minimap, our team has won the other flank. And I put 1 into his track. I made the mistake here of shooting into his spaced armor on the side, and heat rounds do absolutely horrible on spaced armor. So I should have, like I had originally planned to do, I was going to shoot at his cupola that first shot, but I decided not to. And that was a mistake. I should have put all 3 shots right into his cupola like this. And I just continued to kite him around the building. Each time you notice that when I empty out a clip, I always hit the reloading key. It's super important to communicate these kind of things with your team to let them know that you're reloading. So you can see that the T-95 went unspotted. And here I was kind of concerned about the Mouse coming up behind me, but as you can see, the AMX-50B respotted him. So I know for a fact that I'm just still soloing this T-95 up here. I'm concerned about artillery because he hasn't been spotted and he ran away, but it looks like our team is going to kill him at the moment, so I should be good. I see here that the T-95 decides he's going to go around this other building, so I push out, wanting to put a couple shots into him. So I track him, uses his repair kit, and I put 1 clutch into the lower plate because, you know, T57 accuracy, best accuracy. I should have tracked him there, but I shot at his lower plate and unfortunately it bounces, and then I hit his gun. So I'm reloading and he just bounced off me, so I know I have time to get back around this building. Artillery helps me out there, being able to track him. Well, not track him, stun him. I see that 140 came up to support me. He turns around towards me, wanting to put a shot into me, but he puts a shot into the 140 instead. I pop out, bounce one off him, unfortunately, and then finish him off. In this game, I ended up with 5 kills, 7.2k damage, and I think it was 1200 XP in a high caliber. So hopefully you guys can find this replay useful with some of the advice that I've given in it in this kind of situation. It's important that when you get into these 1 versus 4, 1 versus 3 situations that if it's possible at all, you isolate the vehicles that are around you. You assess their maneuverability, their damage per minute, what they can do, as well as their HP. Because if you can knock guns out of the fight, then it's going to increase your chances of winning that fight. And also, if you prioritize those targets based on their, say, damage per minute, which is going to benefit you because they're not going to be able to do as much damage to you anymore, and they're going to lose that support value. So hopefully you guys find this replay useful, and I'll catch you guys next time.